Alright guys, so now that we have VirtualBox installed and Kali Linux up and running, we're going to start the rest of the process of creating our home lab. Alright, so first we're going to come down here, we're going to minimize Kali. You can see the options down here. Come down here to minimize it and return you to your physical desktop. Alright, minimize VirtualBox. Come back to Google and you're going to come right here. You're going to come to this website, pfSense. And this is where you're going to download the router for this home lab. So this is going to create a safe virtual local area network for our environment to test the Kali Linux tools on an intentionally vulnerable machine known as metasploitable. We'll come back to this later. So let's continue with the download of pfSense. Come down here to architecture. You're going to come down here to AMD 64-bit, and obviously the version is going to depend on the time you watch this video. At the time of me making it, it's 2.7.0. Alright, so next come to installer, go down to DVD image ISO installer. You can leave the mirror, Austin, Texas, USA. Click download, come down here, again, save it to the folder of your choice. Alright, then come over here. See once it's done downloading, shouldn't be too much longer. Okay, so you'll see here another archive, right? So we have another zip file. Come over here, go to extract files. Again, extract it to a folder of your choice. So I want it in the same folder as my Kali Linux distribution. So go to OK, VirtualBox VMs. All right, cool. So now you can minimize this. You can minimize Google. You're going to go back to VirtualBox and you're going to come here to machine. You're going to go to new, and this time we're creating a new virtual machine, and we're going to have to install the operating system. All right, so name it whatever you would like. I'm going to name it pfSense for what it is. pfSense. I'm going to come over here to ISO image. You're going to click other, right where this folder is, right? The folder with the green arrow. You're going to click pfSense, open. You're going to come down to type, and you're going to come to BSD. Then you're going to go to version, and you're going to click free BSD 64-bit. Click next. This is how much RAM is allocated, so about a gigabyte. And processors, one CPU out of my 12. Perfectly fine. You can leave this, click next. You can come over here and change the size of the virtual hard disk drive, right? So it only needs 5 gigabytes. That's what we're going to make it. Create a virtual hard disk drive now. All right. So this is going to be size 5 gigabytes, all you need. Click next. All right, cool. This is just a summary of what we did. Finish. Then you're going to come here to setting. Make sure pfSense is selected. You can check right up here. You're going to come down to system, and you're going to make sure that in processor the enable PAE/NX option is checked. All right, everything's the same. You're going to come down here to network. This is what's going to connect us to the internet and connect our virtual machines together. Excuse me. You're going to go down to bridged adapter. This is going to connect to your physical NIC or network interface card, right, of your physical desktop. And it's going to bridge the virtual NIC to the real NIC, and that's how it's going to connect to the internet. And then to connect to the same virtual local area network as our virtual machines, right, like what we did for Kali, you're going to come here and click enable adapter 2. This one, you're going to go back to internal network. And as you can see here, it autofilled to LabNet, the same as Kali Linux. Once you're done with these two things, you're going to click OK. Once you're done with that, you're going to come back over here to pfSense, and you're going to double click it. It'll boot up. Give it some time. All right, cool. Sorry, I got a text. Okay, go ahead. This is just letting you know that the mouse and keyboard are integrated to the VM. You can go ahead and close that. Maximize this, and we're met with a pfSense installer. Okay, so now time to install the operating system. Copyright and distribution notice. Go ahead and click enter. You can only use your keyboard, just a heads up. So enter. You're gonna have to use your arrow keys to move, right? Click install pfSense. So enter. And then you're going to come down here to guided UFS disk setup. So enter entire disk. Yep, we don't need anything else installed. And then you're going to click OK. Partition scheme. It's letting you know how much of the 5 gigabytes it will be used. So 4.7 out of the 5 we allocated. Finish. So go ahead and click enter. Excuse me. Confirmation. Go ahead and click commit. So enter once more. All right, now that this is done, go ahead and click reboot. Perfect. So now let it reboot. Dun, 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 dun. Might take about a minute or so, but it shouldn't take too much longer. Maybe 2 minutes max. All right, cool. We're met with the pfSense installer once more. Now we can come over here and go to File, Close, Power off the machine. Click OK. Now we're going to make sure pfSense is selected once more. Then you're going to come to Settings, and then you're going to come down here to Storage. So this is the virtual CD that we use to install the operating system onto the virtual hard disk drive right here. VDI stands for virtual disk image. Alright, so now that we have the pfSense virtual CD selected, we're going to come down here to the remove attachment button, right? So big red X, click remove. And now we're going to come to system, and we can just change the order in which the system loads the operating system. So you can just click hard disk, come up here, click OK, then click pfSense, double click on it, make sure it starts running. As you can see here, powering up VM. All right, now it's going to boot up, so let it boot up. Shouldn't be too much longer. Okay, cool. And then you can see here, right, configuring firewall. So that's the firewall I mentioned before. This is going to ensure that we have a safe environment for connecting our virtual machines together and testing Kali Linux tools, right? Awesome. So now we see that everything was successfully installed. We're met with this. These are the options, right? You can come here. We have the local area network IPv4 address, right? 192.168.1.1/24. You can explore all these options on your own if you would like. All right, so now that we're done setting up our router slash firewall or router with firewall, we're going to go ahead and we're going to minimize this. We're going to leave it open, minimize VirtualBox. Then we're going to go back to Google and we're going to come down here to metasploitable, right? So go ahead and come to this web address. There you go. Pause if you need to. All right, so now we come down here and we can read about this, right? Metasploitable is an intentionally vulnerable Linux virtual machine. This VM can be used to conduct security training, test security tools, and practice common penetration testing techniques. All right, then we can see the default credentials right here, MSF admin, MSF admin. So go ahead and click download. Downloading shortly, downloading shortly. All right, go ahead and folder of your choice once more, save. Go ahead and minimize this. This looks like it's going to take some time to download. Here. So yeah, while that's doing that, we can come back here and click on the Kali Linux virtual machine instance. So let's go ahead and sign in once again. And now if you come up here, you'll see, if we come to wired connection 1, right, you'll see that it is now connected to the internet. We can come over here, we can click ifconfig, and now we see that our IPv4 address is right here, the inet 192.168.1.100. Perfect. So now it has an IP address. We can come back here, minimize, still some time on here. It looks like, all right, let's explore some tools. Let's see, information gathering. Ooh. This right here will be one of the main tools you use. Good tool to know, good tool to know. We can double check that our virtual machine is indeed connected to the internet by clicking on Firefox browser. Let's go ahead and double check. Yep, connected to the internet, and you can see the increase in packets right there. Go ahead and close this. All right, looks like our metasploitable files are done downloading. Once again, another archive of zipped files. Go ahead and go to extract files. Again, extract it to a folder of your choice. I want mine VirtualBox VMs. Shouldn't take too long to extract. Let's let that extract. Come on, come on. All right, cool. So now let's go to VirtualBox VMs. Metasploitable 2's in there. Oh, we can go ahead and close this. Go back to the VirtualBox Manager, and we're going to go ahead and go to Machine, and we're going to click Add once again. Just kidding, we're not going to click Add. We're going to click New. You're going to come here, and you're going to name it whatever you would like. Again, I want my name to reflect what it is, so metasploitable folder, yes. ISO image is fine. We don't need to select this, but we are going to select the Ubuntu, no, Linux. We're going to click Linux, and then we're going to come here to Ubuntu 64. So scroll until you see Ubuntu 64. Click Next. All right, so base memory, we can see that this needs 2 gigabytes, about 2 gigabytes, as opposed to 1 of RAM, and it only needs 1 CPU core as well. So we'll go ahead and click Next. And this time, instead of doing a virtual hard disk drive creation, we're going to come down here and we're going to use an existing virtual hard disk file, right? We're going to come down here, we're going to click this, we're going to click Add. Then we're going to come here. Just to the unzip metasploitable download. use an existing virtual hard disk file, click the folder, click add, metasploitable to Linux, metasploitable. Okay, so my bad. Let me walk through that once more. So we're going to come here, right? You're going to come to use an existing virtual hard disk file. Then you're going to click on this folder with the arrow icon, and you're going to click add. Then you see this is the folder for our virtual machine. We need to actually go to the file of the virtual machine archive that we unzipped earlier. So come over here to the file or folder where you downloaded those files. Should be this metasploitable 2-Linux. Then again, blue box. Go ahead and click it, select it, click open, choose, next, finish. Once more, make sure this one is selected, metasploitable. Go to settings, go to system. Once again, processor, make sure this option is enabled. Then go to network, adapter 1, right? Make sure it's enabled, and you're going to attach it to the bridge network. No, internal network. You're going to attach it to the internal network and click OK. And then you're going to run it. All right. Booting up. You can go ahead and maximize this. All right, it's done booting up, and now we can see, right? Look, never expose this VM to an untrusted network. That's what we have pfSense for. Log in with msfadmin and msfadmin to get started. We can see virtual machine is up and running. Who am I? msfadmin. And there you go. They are finally up and running. And that's the home lab setup for you guys. All right, and now to actually check if these virtual machines can connect to each other, make sure they're all up and running. You can see Kali is open, pfSense is open, and Metasploitable is open. So go ahead and come here to Metasploitable and type if config, just like we did in Kali earlier. And you'll see here it has an IP address of 192.168.1.101. Okay, so once you realize that, you can go ahead and go back to our Kali Linux instance. Come back over here to the terminal, and as I said, one of the tools you use pretty often, you can go ahead and type exactly what I typed, nmap, right? Then you're going to type the IP address of Metasploitable. Or actually, just to see what's on the entire network, go ahead and type the IP address of Kali Linux. So you see up here, the IP address is 192.168.1.100. And just like we saw earlier with, minimize this, just like we saw earlier with pfSense, you'll see here the /24 after the IP address, right? So that just gives you the range of how many devices can be on this network. So now go back to Kali Linux. And type /24, just like we saw with pfSense. You'll see it starting up. I'm going to maximize this so you guys can clearly see what's happening. Oh, would you look at that? We have the IP address of pfSense right here. right? 192.168.1.1. Then we have the IP address is metasploitable, 192.168.1.101. You see all these ports open, which we'll get into in another video.